Okay, we're going to try this again to see. I think we're up now. So, little technical issue there getting going, but we are up and rolling here. Week 14 college football final regular season Saturday. Hopefully, a lot of you guys are going to jump on. We'll talk rivalry week. I want to know, Alabama fans, how tight are you today? Number has not moved overnight. It's still sitting at 5.5, a total of 46.5. We know what's at stake. Alabama wins. Tell me if you've heard this before. Alabama, Georgia, SEC championship game next Saturday. So Alabama realistically could get a bye if they win the SEC championship game against a program they have absolutely owned, winning 10 of their last 11 against the Georgia Bulldogs. But first, they've got to go to the Plains and take on a 5-6 Auburn team that can absolutely wreck everything. And we're in the middle of this amazing Lane Kiffin saga that just gets more and more ridiculous, embarrassing, however you want to paint this thing. A&M now, this is almost like Ole Miss. So if you grew up in the old school SEC championship days that started back in 1992, and it was well documented, there were 3 teams back then that could never get to an SEC championship game, even Mississippi State in 1999 or 98. Not a good SEC West that year. But Kentucky, Vanderbilt, and Ole Miss. And, you know, there was nothing like the Hugh Freeze 2014 year, I think it was. It was 14 or 15, where you had the Alex Collins or the Hunter Henry over the top throw on like 4th and 25, and it bounces right to Alex Collins, and he takes it for the first down, and they end up going to overtime, and they win that game. And all Ole Miss had to do was hold on there, and they get to Atlanta. This is kind of like A&M. A little more difficult of a path because they were 11-0 in the regular season. They lose one game in conference, and they ultimately get bounced from the SEC championship game. And Steve Sarkisian, by the way, but to get to what we've got up today, we've got 7 plays for you. We've got 4 sides. We've got 3 totals, kind of an abbreviated board today just because we did have a lot of football yesterday, and it was a god-awful day for us. So we own it. Again, we're very transparent. It's been an incredible year. It's been actually a really good week up until yesterday. Had a really good Thanksgiving. We got kicked in the balls yesterday. 0-3 in football. We had the Eagles. My God, what has happened to the Eagles? This is another maybe repeat of 2023 where they began the season 10-1 and then they went into the shitter. It looks like they're there right now with typical Eagle drama. Much like A&M, I've doubted the Chicago Bears team, and now they're sitting there at 9-3. So give Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams a lot of credit. They look like a team that's going to be difficult to deal with as we head into December. But we did have the Eagles. That was a loser. We had Arizona State last night. They get up 7-0, and then Arizona closes it out with a 23-0 run. And then we had the Georgia Bulldogs yesterday against Georgia Tech, laying a big number. The number continued to grow, and I kind of got excited about it because I thought it was going to be one of those games where they were going to win by 21 plus, and Georgia just dicks around. And Gunnar Stockton, as good as he's been, was really, really bad yesterday. And Georgia Tech now has lost, 3 or 4? Yeah, 3 or 4 after is that right? After a 8-0 start. Yeah, lost 3 or 4, which is kind of crazy where the ACC is. And Georgia Tech really had everything in front of them, but we will see what happens tonight with SMU on the West Coast against Cal. Big game for Rhett Lashley and SMU. Obviously, Virginia Tech. We'll get into all these games. Anything you guys want to talk about, throw it at me. Again, we've got 7 plays up. We don't have any 11 o'clock games. I had some 11 o'clock leans. I liked Kentucky. We'll get into that. I liked Clemson. I liked Miami. I liked Michigan, but I stayed away from all of them. I had a little bit that wasn't enough to push me over the top. You guys know how I feel about these 11 o'clock games, but we will get into those games and give you reasons that maybe you should play those games. Again, we're going to stay on here for 20, 30 minutes. We'll talk about whatever you guys want to. I do want to get into this before we start talking specifically about the numbers and the games today. I did think it was really interesting, and we've talked about this before on the next round. You know, Texas back to last night, and I thought Arch missed some easy throws, even on the touchdown to Wingo. Wingo, just an incredible adjustment, wide open. I mean, there were just some wide open receivers last night for Sark, and Arch just wasn't. I don't know. I just don't know how accurate he's going to be. I mean, he is so far away from NFL ready, like it's just not even close. But anyway, they win the game. And they are playing much better right now. But I thought the interesting thing is, when asked about, are you college football playoff worthy, Sarkisian made a point that we've all talked about. Like, we have talked about with this league right now, how balanced and how deep it is. You schedule out of conference like Texas did, going to Ohio State and Arch's first real true road start. You lose that game. You play them as tight as anybody's played them. Look, and I didn't even think it was a close game. It was a 7-point game, but it seemed like they were, 14 down the entire game. But with that said, if you would have played UTSA, they're 10-2 right now. They are squarely in the college football playoff. There is no denying the Texas brand. If they were 10-2, they wouldn't have scheduled that out of conference game against Ohio State. They would be in. And now we're going to a 9-game conference schedule. If I'm any of these coaches, I'm scheduling like Eli Drinkwitz. Pick your guy that doesn't schedule difficult out of conference games, and that's exactly what I am doing. There is not a chance in hell that I would schedule any of these games based on the fact that Texas would be there right now. And Sark's going to take a lot of heat, and as well he should. They were the number one team going into the preseason. He's one of the top 3-4 paid coaches, and they didn't get to a college football playoff. And to me, for a team like Texas, and this might not be fair, but it is a major disappointment if you're a program like Texas and you can't get into a 12-team college football playoff. I think that's what Nick Saban did, just spoiling the hell out of Alabama fans. I mean, there was just not a world we lived in where a 14 playoff, Nick Saban wasn't there. And now you think about a 12-team playoff, it seems very doable, but it's not like making the tournament in college basketball where you got 68 of them. I mean, there's still only 12 spots. There's a lot of good teams out there. But again, I am not scheduling these difficult out-of-conference games moving forward because 10-2 Texas would absolutely be in. Let's go to Pallet Guy. 11 o'clock is a sleepy Vegas window. Can't trust it. I mean, I can't. This Kentucky number's dropped to 1.5. Kentucky is going to beat Louisville. Cutter Boley will, I guess, go back to the Cutter Boley we saw for like 2 weeks. He was absolutely awful in his last outing. But I believe Kentucky is not only going to cover, they're going to win this game. I mean, hell, they got to. Now it's down to 1.5, and this is just not a really good Kentucky team. But I don't trust Louisville either. Without Isaac Brown, they can't really run the football. Miller Moss is not a quarterback that scares you at all. But this Kentucky offense is absolutely awful. Only 25 points per game. The defense has been worse, not up to Mark Stoops standards. They're 71st in scoring defense, giving up 25 points per game. They are 4-2 their last 6 out against the number. And Louisville, on the other hand, Jeff Brom, another one of these coaches that I don't get. I think he's a good coach. But when you start talking about some of the jobs that Jeff Brown was possibly in the mix for, don't understand it, especially in this ACC where Louisville's sitting there at 7-4, 1-4 against the spread their last 5 games out. Joe Barker, Sark is unlikable. He's like Ted Cruz. You can agree with his point. Can't get over the fact that he's a windbag. I've never been a big Sark guy. I like the redemption story. Obviously, he's battled his demons. I think he's a hell of a play caller. I've just seen him in really good jobs before Washington and USC, and the end result wasn't great by any means. Didn't win double digits at either one of those programs. Now he's done it at Texas. If he wins a bowl game this year, it'll be 3 consecutive years. First time he's ever done that. There's just something off about Sark. I don't know. I think he's a good coach. I don't think he's a great coach. And I think Texas fans are starting to understand that. And again, he did win multiple games in the college football playoff last year. But so did our man, James Franklin. Bama is ranked 5 now if they didn't play FSU. If they played South Alabama week 1, they are a lock right now. You're probably right. I brought up the fact that the Florida State game doesn't even matter anymore, but it really does. Because if they would have played South Alabama, we'll use Major Applewhite's program as an example there. They would have beat them by 50 plus. And Alabama is sitting there right now with 1 loss. And there is 0 chance absorbing a second loss with the brand that they would be out of this college football playoff. So back to it. I am not scheduling difficult out-of-conference games. Now, again, if you played Florida State right now, Alabama would probably beat them by, 28 plus. Gumpster, Texas can't lose to Florida, but Sark is 100% about scheduling. You're right. I mean, look, that's a terrible loss. You can't lose to Florida, and they got dominated in that game. And they were fortunate to beat Mississippi State, incredible comeback. They were fortunate to beat Kentucky in overtime. So Look, they can bitch and complain, but I mean, the facts are the facts. Like, they should have won some of these games, but if they didn't play Ohio State, they are squarely in the college football playoff at 10-2. I want to hear from you guys on the Iron Bowl. I'm telling you, 2013 was exciting. It ended up, that was one of those years that I get stubborn and I just fade a team, and I was fading Auburn every week. And 2 weeks before, I got drilled in the ass by having just a massive, massive number on Georgia in the Prairie Jordan-Hare. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to get it back on Alabama, because that was a weird number. You guys remember that? I think it was like Alabama 10 with A.J. McCarron and those guys rolling in. And, some of the bad breaks that you've seen before for visiting teams in Jordan-Hare. But that was one of those Iron Bowls, 2010, 2013. This has got that kind of intrigue too. And we're talking about, and look, we went through some of these numbers yesterday. We were broadcasting live from Moe's Barbecue, Magnolia, downtown Auburn. Went through some of these numbers that I found from the Iron Bowl, from past Iron Bowls. And some of these numbers are pretty amazing. We are talking about an unranked Auburn team right now, sub 500 at 5-6, that is only catching 5.5 against an Alabama team. Brought up this, there have been 30 Iron Bowls where you have an unranked Auburn against a ranked Alabama. And in those situations, Auburn is 1-29. 1-29. This just feels different. I don't know why. Ashton Daniels, if you guys listen to the next round, I dogged the guy out all year. I said he's a great athlete. He just can't throw a football really consistently. And he goes out and he scorches Vanderbilt in a game that Auburn could have easily won. And I don't know. This game is scary. Let's get to some comments. Michigan plus 9.5 in the snow. They can't beat them. Okay, so here is my take on Michigan. If Justice Haynes was playing, I think they would have a really, really good shot in this game, because I do think Ohio State's going to be tight. Now, the thing is, for Ohio State, obviously this is a big game, because if you lose this, you're not in the Big Ten championship anymore. Michigan is right there. 5 consecutive losses to Michigan in this game. I mean, Ryan Day, he builds all this equity last year after losing this game, getting to the college football playoff, winning the whole thing. But, we talked to Joel Klatt earlier this week on the next round, and he said, man, look, all that equity is gone if he loses 5th consecutive time to the Michigan Wolverines. I wanted to play Michigan here. Their defense is legitimate still. It's a top 15 defense, giving up less than 18 points per game. They haven't been covering. Bryce Underwood hasn't been really good. He's got to avoid the mistakes. But back to Justice Haynes, if he was playing here, he's just one of those backs that I think could do enough against this Ohio State defense, as good as it's been. I mean, the number one scoring defense in all of college football, giving up less than 8 points per game. But Justice Haynes, extend the possessions, keep Ohio State off the field. Maybe in these conditions with that aggressive defense that Michigan has, you force a turnover or two. And back to Joel Klatt, he said, man, all they want to do, and he'll be on the call, obviously, with Gus today, is get this game into the second half and make it a one-possession game, because then things get really, really tight. I think that's the same situation tonight in Jordan-Hare with Alabama and Auburn. That game kicking at 6:30. I'm seeing right now, just on a graphic, and I'm going to update this. I'm seeing Alabama's dropped to 4.5. To me, not good news for Alabama fans. Again, where this number is, how this scenario is played out is just, it seems disastrous. As soon as I say this, again, I was 0-3, so we don't win them all here. We win a good bit of them, though. I do really, really like Auburn today, but, this could be one of those games where Kalen DeBoer goes out and they beat them by 28. I mean, look, Alabama, much more talented roster, in my opinion. They've got the better quarterback. They've got the better coaching staff. But this game is in Jordan-Hare. And for whatever reason, Kalen DeBoer, as good as he's been against these ranked opponents, and he's been equally bad against unranked opponents. He's 5-5 in games away from Bryant-Denny. So, there's one factor there. And he just really hasn't been good against unranked teams. Now, post-Malzahn, I brought this number up too yesterday. This is pretty crazy too. Auburn, since Gus Malzahn, has played 25 ranked teams. They are 3-22 in those games. That is insane. Back to questions and comments. Pallet guy, I like Vandy to win today. Seems like UT has lost a bunch of steam. I agree. It was in my pick 3 yesterday. I like Vanderbilt a lot. I think it's a great spot. Pavia is obviously playing with a ton of confidence. I mean, they're playing for a lot here. Obviously, sitting at number 14, they're on the fringe of getting into a college football playoff. I know they don't have great wins, but if they go 10-2 in the SEC, I think they're going to be obviously right there in the conversation. Probably need a little help up front. But if they win this game and Pavia plays well, I think he's going to be in New York. I think he will be a Heisman finalist. So they're playing for a lot right here. This offense is a top 10 offense, right at 39 points per game. They have covered 5 straight games. You look at Tennessee, 2-6, their last 8 out. This number has dropped to 2.5. I gave it out at 3. I told people to buy it up. But I think Vanderbilt's a live dog. You can catch them right now on the money line at plus 114. I probably still would take the 2.5, probably buy it to 3 just in case. But I think Vanderbilt wins this game in Knoxville. And then I think Vanderbilt and Clark Lee with his new extension, I think he is going to be campaigning, and he should be, that Vanderbilt should get into this 12-team playoff. Then how amazing would it be? Texas beat Vanderbilt. Texas with the brand. They're 9-3. Vanderbilt's 10-2. Vanderbilt getting in a college football playoff. Texas doesn't. Would be absolutely amazing. Another big wild card game out there, and I'm going to get to more questions and comments, and you guys keep them coming. I'll get to all of them. Is LSU at Oklahoma? LSU 1-5 against the number their last 6 road games. The offense is awful. I never thought we would live in a world where you had the 106th scoring offense when just 2 years ago, what Jaden Daniels was doing to defenses. Their defense is really good, though. Blake Baker has got a top 20 defense, 16th right now in scoring defense, only giving up 18 points per game. Not only are they 1-5 against the spread their last 6 road games, they're 0-5 just overall their last 5 out. So LSU with Michael Van Buren has not been it's just not an offense you're scared of. And when you look at this Oklahoma defense, I personally think behind Ohio State, maybe Indiana's right there too. Those are the top 3 defenses in college football right now. Oklahoma also covering 4-1 their last 5 out. I don't trust John Mateer. I was a big Mateer fan coming into the season. I still don't think he's 100% healthy. I think the confidence is down a little bit. I think they rely offensively way too much on their defense. And I guess you should when you've got a defense that good. But if there's a turnover here or there, if LSU, again, can keep this a 1-possession game in the second half, things get tight. Because if Oklahoma drops this game, we know they are out. There is no way Oklahoma at 9-3 is getting in. And then Texas, even more of an argument there. Texas 9-3, Oklahoma 9-3. Texas beat Oklahoma. If we get some attrition at the top today, we could really, really have some interesting stuff going on. I mean, we've got, I think, 5 or 6 that are completely locked in. We know A&M's locked in. We know Georgia's locked in. We know Ohio State, Indiana are both locked in. But you start to look at some of these other games, and, Oregon, I still think if Oregon absorbed a loss and I stayed away from it, I wanted to play Washington. I couldn't pull the trigger on it. That's a 2:30 CBS game in Seattle. And Oregon's had some Washington problems. Oregon loses that game. I mean, their best win at home against in my opinion, average USC team. Not a great resume for Oregon. So that's an interesting one if they were to lose. Like 10-2 Oregon is going to get in front of 10-2 Vanderbilt, but I mean, you could definitely make an argument for Vanderbilt. Some other games at the top that could be really interesting. Obviously, Alabama loses. They are done, 1,000% cooked. So everyone in the world that has a fighting shot at getting to a college football playoff is going to be going to be cheering against Alabama tonight. If you're not an Alabama fan, Notre Dame is one that is locked in. Like, I don't see a world where Stanford wins that game. That would be pretty incredible. But I don't think that is physically possible for Stanford to hang with the way Notre Dame is playing right now. Back to some of these questions and comments. Gumpster is scared to death, but the Iron Bowl is usually won by the team that's supposed to win. That is true. There have been some other examples. The Franchione game back 1989, the first game ever played in Jordan-Hare. We talked about that game a little bit. That was an Alabama team that was going to play for the national championship if they won that game. And I think they were funny story about that game. I was a senior in high school, and I had a buddy, and he was, and he's turned out he's been a successful guy, but he was, I'm not going to say we were all mischievous, but he was one of those guys. He was the first one to have the fake ID from Newberry's, had the fake ID at 14. He was one of the guys that hit puberty first. So, at 14, he looked like he was all of 17 or 18. And, our balls hadn't dropped yet, but he was doing all these things and we would just kind of follow the lead. But I remember that was the first time I ever placed an official bet with a local bookie. And, it was just I just remember my thought process being, man, we're playing with like organized crime guys now. We have officially called in a bet to a real bookmaker. And I remember we had Alabama. We thought it was such easy money. And that was a dose of reality quickly that Vegas knows a lot more than you ever do. And my first bet to a local bookmaker was an absolute loser because we hammered down on Alabama. When I say hammered down, I think we probably pulled $100 together in 1989 and lost it and felt like it was a kick in the balls and probably didn't have Christmas that year. Jay Barker, interesting spelling. I just feel like this Alabama team is different as it relates to many trends. I think Alabama finds the deep passing game tonight and rolls. I mean, look, receivers have been open. I do think Ryan Grubb's doing a pretty good job of, having such an imbalanced offense of trying to stay committed to the run and at the same time dialing things up where, guys are running open. Ty's just hasn't been the same quarterback the last month. So, if Ty can make those throws, look, this game could get quickly away from Auburn. I don't think Auburn can play from behind. I mean, this is going to be one of those that I do think Derek Nix is going to throw some wrinkles out there. I still believe Deuce Knight is going to have a package. How much? I mean, a play or two possibly. But if you've got Ashton Daniels out there and they've got to play from behind and they lose their crowd, they have absolutely no shot. I just think from the beginning, there's going to be some weird bounces. I think there's going to be a turnover here or there. I think Auburn's going to bust one. I think they're going to have, a trick play here or there. And, if they hit some of these, this game is going to be absolutely fascinating. And again, there is a reason this number is moving like it is right now. I mean, the number of movements I'm seeing right now, and I guarantee you Vegas got kicked in the dick yesterday. I'm still seeing Alabama 5.5. It has dipped down to 4.5 this morning in a couple of shops, and the total's still sitting at 46.5. Let's see here. Fortunately, Kalen doesn't play on the field. Ty will be good tonight. It's going to be first half Georgia for 4 quarters tonight. Hey, that's one thing, Jay. Alabama has not played a full 4 quarters. And when they do, I think this team obviously is capable of beating anybody. And this would be a good time to show up and play a full 4 quarters. I mean, here's the weird thing. I do lean Auburn is going to win this game. I don't feel great about it. I do like Auburn a lot plus the 5.5. But if Alabama wins this game, I think Alabama is going to win the SEC championship. I think they're going to get a bye, and I think they're going to make a lot of noise in the college football playoff. That's how fine this line is between getting in and making noise and being excluded altogether. But I think most people would agree, even with the out-of-conference scheduling we talked about earlier with Florida State, much like Texas loses to Florida, they don't deserve to be in. If Alabama loses to Florida State, a 5-6 Auburn team, and then an Oklahoma team that is really offensively challenged at home, they don't deserve to be in this thing. But if they do get there, I think it is a really, really dangerous team because at that point it's ranked on ranked, and we know how Kalen DeBoer does in these ranked on ranked situations. 255 of you guys on with us right now. Appreciate everybody jumping on. Again, any questions, comments? I mean, this day is absolutely just so intriguing. A couple of other things I wanted to get to. I've got a super tease for you guys, and we can get into that in just a couple of minutes. Lane Kiffin. Wow. The turn a hoe into a housewife. I really thought Lane had matured. We all heard about his sobriety in the offseason. I thought it was really awesome that, he was able to acknowledge it, to talk about it publicly. Seemed like a coach that was really turning the corner. Look, they're 11-1. They're locked in. They're another one of those teams that I didn't mention. Absolutely locked in. And a great job from Lane Kiffin this year, and a great job of having 3 consecutive double-digit win seasons. But when a reporter on a podcast, and I saw the clip, you can't be this super sensitive to it. Like, if you want to not acknowledge that guy in a press conference, if you maybe want to call him out in a different way, but to have the troopers – the state troopers walk you up to this guy basically, and you almost kind of poke him in the chest. Call me a hoe inside and see what happens. And I do think that this was the kid, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, that goes in there and Lane Kiffin is talking about how Bush League it is. And then he kind of clarifies the comment. When I'm talking about Hoda Housewife, I'm talking about commitment. I thought that was a legitimate point. Like, if you're committed to this program, just say I'm committed to this program. And I don't think there's, I don't know. I can't, Lane Kiffin's mind, I would never want to be in it. But I thought for sure that if he was going to stay in Oxford, he announces before the Egg Bowl yesterday, they go out there and roll. They end up winning anyway, didn't announce it. Most people believe it's LSU. I think the Titans could be in play because, again, I can't figure Lane Kiffin out. But gun to head right now, I think he's going to LSU. But I don't know how he gets so super sensitive about some of the things he gets so beat up about. Absolutely drives me crazy when you just finished the greatest season that we have ever seen, at least in the last 60 years in Ole Miss football history. Let's see some other comments. This committee is only concerned about the L column. You're right. I mean, it's really weird now. I mean, we say that, Notre Dame, one of their 2 losses is to Miami. Miami has no shot at getting in front of Notre Dame. I can't imagine that it's an easy job being on that committee. Now, first of all, Hunter Yurachek to take this thing over. I guess he just likes camera time. I would not want to be involved in it at all because it really is difficult to have, to not at least contradict yourself at some point. There's just way too much going on. But the amount of contradictions from this committee are absolutely astounding. Tyler Wayne Tucker, what a name. Is there any value on Alabama if the number is shorter than it's supposed to be backing a quality team? Yeah, I mean, it's always value if you back Alabama tonight minus the 4.5 or 5.5, wherever you're shopping it, and they win by 28. Then it's easy. Look, I'll catch hell. I will catch holy hell from a lot of people if Alabama wins this game going away. And honestly, for our business, I need Alabama to win. It is good when we have teams in the playoff. It is a way for us to generate revenue. It is a way for us to generate content. I mean, look, teams need to be really, really good or really, really bad. And you've kind of got a mixture of both right now, possibly. I mean, if Alabama wins this, they're in the college football playoff. They're in the SEC championship. Auburn's looking for a coach right now. I want to see a hell of a game. And, however it breaks, it breaks. Would I love to see Connor Talty, Alabama fans, hang with me here, roll out there for a 41-yarder with no time left and hit it, to give Alabama a 2-point win and send them to the SEC championship game in a college football playoff? I think that'd be pretty awesome. I know Auburn fans don't want to hear that. It'd be great for our business. It'd be great drama. And it would be quite the redemption story. Do I think that will happen? Probably not. I think if he rolls out there, I think, boy, what a scenario that would be. Any Alabama fans want to see Talty on the field tonight outside of extra points? What else do we have here? We've got 281 of you guys on here live. I'm going to go ahead and give this super tease. The last leg of it, not as appealing as some of these others. We've been really good at this. By the way, if you want to play teasers, I typically don't. Our first leg, we've got to play Ohio State, right? I just don't think Michigan. I mean, it would be absolutely what a start to a day if Michigan beats Ohio State again, just to make it so uncomfortable. There's so many potentially uncomfortable games. This is one of them. But we are playing Ohio State at minus the half here. That is our first leg. Second leg, another game that is really pivotal. A lot of people aren't talking about because this LSU offense is so bad. We are going to lame it out, and we are going to play the Oklahoma Sooners minus 1.5. And our final leg here, again, semi-playoff implications. We're going West Coast interim coach for the Cal Bears. We are taking SMU minus 3.5. So there you go. Your super tease today, Ohio State minus a half or plus a half, I should say. Oklahoma minus 1.5. And we will close it out with SMU minus the 3.5. We're going to stay on about 5-10 more minutes here. Any final questions or comments from you guys? Again, Georgia in the SEC championship game. Never see that. Texas A&M out of the SEC championship game. Never see that. Texas goes 9-3 after the expectations of, I think their win total was 10.5 before the year. Arch was your Heisman favorite. He is playing better, but again, I thought some of the windows he missed, some of the open receivers he missed last night didn't matter. Marcel Reed, boy, his final 2 possessions, he was awful. So anybody that had Marcel Reed in Heisman consideration, I think that might have shut the door on that. This Heisman race is going to be pretty fascinating too. Watching Indiana, and I didn't watch all of it. I watched a decent bit of it, but Cignetti didn't care anything about Mendoza necessarily winning a Heisman Trophy. Like, we don't need you to put up numbers. We're just going to go out there. I mean, the way he runs his program, he's a weird dude, but that is such an airtight program right now. And anyway, my point on that was going to be that I don't think there is a clear-cut favorite for your Heisman. Mendoza is that right now. I personally think Jeremiah Love is the best player in college football, but it's tough to get a gauge on him because he's not playing any good defenses right now. So this is one of those years where it's not like this guy has been so elite this year or that guy has been so elite. I think it's a lot of guys that are like B-plus guys right now, and I think it will play deep into next weekend to see who actually wins the Heisman Trophy. Tyler Wayne back. I've been wrong 4 straight years on Ohio State versus Michigan. I'm staying away. Me too, my friend. I think I've been wrong 4 straight. I would play Michigan here, though. I really would. I would take Michigan plus the points. Prove me wrong, Ryan Day. Some coaches have kryptonite. We know Kirby Smart's is Alabama. We know Sarkisian's is Georgia. And Ryan Day's is definitely the blue, the maize and blue of Michigan. So that game going off in just a few minutes here in 23 minutes. I cannot believe this is our last fucking college football Saturday. So depressing. I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but it's what the week's all about. Just speculating, talking about these Saturday games, and now we're at the end of it. Now, the good news is we do have the college football playoffs, which is, better than what we had before, but it's just not the same without wall-to-wall football on a Saturday and just an excuse to do absolutely nothing, and nobody judges you. It's gluttonous. You lay around in comfortable clothes, you eat bad, you drink all day, you gamble. It's just, it's Valhalla. Very, very good stuff. And unfortunately, this is the last day of it, regular season for the year. We've had an incredible regular season. Last Saturday, we were 5-2. I think the 2 Saturdays before, I think I'm going back 5-2, 5-4, 6-2-1, and 7-2. We have been on an incredible run on these Saturdays. It's been a great season. We were shitty yesterday, but we bounced back in a big way with 7 plays today. Again, 4 sides and 3 totals. Our first game goes off at 12:30, I think is the first kick time. Let me confirm that. It's a very weird total I've got in a Sunbelt game for whatever that's worth. Let me see here. Yes, 12:30. That is the first one. And then I've got sides in 3 SEC games. I've got a side in a Big Ten game, total in an SEC game, and then a side in an ACC SEC matchup. So there you go. 7 plays up and available. Free play every single day here at lanceslock.com. 311 of you joining live. We appreciate that. I need to find a way to be more consistent on this and do some out-of-season shows, some college basketball-related stuff. Obviously, we could do it with bowl games and with the college football playoffs. We will have specialty packages coming up for all of that, so stay tuned on your notifications. DM me with anything you guys want to get into, any ideas on how to make this more consistent and bigger and better. But look, have a wonderful Saturday, week 14 of college football. The game, and I was told by one of my best friends, don't ever refer to it as the game again. You sound really, really stupid and really, really forced. But the game starts in 33 and change. Wherever you are, enjoy it. Hopefully this is one of those Saturdays. It just seems like, I pop my first beer and then 10 minutes later, the sun is set and we're almost to the night session. And then, I pour a bourbon and it's like, the final West Coast game, Notre Dame Stanford's ending. And I'm like, where the hell has my college football Saturday gone? So I'm going to really, really pace it today. And let's just enjoy our last full college football Saturday here. And let's win big. Let's have that perfect 7-0 day. I will jump back on and we will talk into the wee hours of the morning. Again, if you have any questions, comments, anything that can make us better, let us know. But look, let's win out there. You guys be safe. Really, really enjoy your college football Saturday. And we will be back sooner than later right here with Lance'sLock.com. Thank you guys so much. Again, have an awesome, awesome Saturday.